Dorothy Parker was born in 1893 in New Jersey. She worked at Vogue magazine in New York City in her early 20s, then Vanity Fair. She quickly gained a reputation as an intellectual, a socialite and a wit. She was one of the founding members of the Algonquin Round Table. She sat on the founding editorial board of the New Yorker. In 1926, her first book of poetry, Enough Rope, appeared and became a national bestseller. She wrote short stories, poetry, plays and reviews. In some ways, she epitomised the 1920s. Nowadays, our literary output can look as if it's past its sell-by date. In his introduction to her collected works, the New Yorker columnist Brendan Gill claimed that present-day readers may find it hard to understand the high regard in which she was once held. He thought that one reason for this might be that the Algonquin Round Table, the company of witty intellectuals who to some extent nurtured and inspired her, was made up largely of second and third raters. Well, I think there's some truth in this. I think some of her work is enduringly important. Specifically, I think she was an outstanding reviewer. This is how I think the conventional assessment works. She wrote short stories, plays, poems and reviews. If the stories, plays and poems have dated, and they nearly all have, then that's decisive, because those are precisely the things that any writer would wish to state her claim to posterity upon. We can discount the reviews. But I think that in this case, that's wrong. Dorothy Parker was primarily a critic. Firstly, and most obviously, she was a critic in the public professional sense. She wrote reviews. But she was also a determined critic in the everyday sense. Criticism was the wellspring of her famous wit, her dissatisfaction with the world, her engagement with politics. It was the driver of her poems and stories. In many ways, it shaped her life. Most of our formal reviews, those in the collected Dorothy Parker, concern books and plays that have now been forgotten. But that doesn't really matter. There are rare cases of reviews being readable in their own right, quite apart from their targets. The reviews are definitely where she is most herself. There are certain individuals, few enough to make them puzzling to mainstream critics, who live what might be called a literary life. Dorothy Parker is one, Oscar Wilde would be another. Both were far more than the sum of their works. To read Dorothy Parker properly would be to read her biography. That is, a book written by someone else. And of course, those reviews.